Hello everyone, welcome to the 80 Literary and Jury Charge. We're going to start off with some legal terms. I'm going to give you the terms and then I will read you the paragraph. You're going to hear trustee, referee, creditors, bankruptcy, and you can use the brief BRUPTS for bankruptcy. Bankrupt. There's two ways that you could write that, either BARPT or BRUPT. So bankrupt, BARPT or BRUPT. Okay, and then bankruptcy, I write that as BRUPTS. Receiver, solvent, initiated, voluntary, which is VO, officer, initial S, final effer, federal, disposition, insolvent, involuntary, so you can just write IN, come back for VO, insolvent, debts. Okay, I will read this at 80. Here we go. Ready? A person who is unable to pay his debts is called a bankrupt. Federal courts have been established to handle bankruptcy cases. A voluntary bankruptcy proceeding is initiated by the bankrupt party when the creditors of the bankrupt party start the bankruptcy proceedings. It is called involuntary bankruptcy. A court officer in charge of the bankruptcy proceedings is the referee. A receiver follows the orders of the court when disposition of property is necessary. A party is solvent when he can pay his debts and insolvent when he cannot pay his debts. A trustee holds the bankrupt's property for the creditor's benefit. All right. I've got some fun and fascinating facts on the weather. Here we go. Ready? No one has ever discovered two snowflakes with exactly the same crystal pattern. 1,000 tons of meteor dust fall to Earth every day. During the heating months of winter, the relative humidity of the average American home is only 13%, nearly twice as dry as the Sahara Desert. According to Professor Walter Connor of the University of Michigan, men are 6 times more likely than women to be struck by lightning. Studies in modern China have found that one can predict weather with 80% accuracy by monitoring the croaking of frogs. A peasant named Cheng devised the following formula, which has been adopted by millions of Chinese farmers and peasants. If frogs croak on a fine day, it will rain in 2 days. If frogs croak after rain, there will be fine weather. It will continue to rain. If frogs do not croak, after successive overcast days. The town of JCLIT in the Sahara Desert once went 10 years without a rainfall. A bolt of lightning can strike the earth with a force as great as 100 million volts. During a severe windstorm or rainstorm, the Empire State Building may sway several feet to either side. It snows more in the Grand Canyon than it does in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Lightning puts 10 million tons of nitrogen into the earth each year. In Calama, a town in the Atacama Desert of Chile, has never rained. Moist air holds heat better than dry, which is why nights in the desert are cool, while nights in the humid tropics are torrid. The outdoor temperature can be estimated to within several degrees by timing the chirps of a cricket. It is done this way. Count the number of chirps in a 15-second period and add 37 to the total. The result will be very close to the actual Fahrenheit temperature. This formula, however, only works in warm weather. In 1816, there were frosts and snow in the northeastern United States every month of the year. Similar weather conditions prevailed in France, Italy, and Spain. The year 1816 became known throughout Europe and the United States as the year without a summer. Clouds fly higher during the day than during the night. We are in the middle of an ice age. Ice ages include both cold and warm periods. At the moment, we are experiencing a relatively warm span of time known as an interglacial period. Geologists believe that the warmest part of this period occurred from 1890 through 1945, and that since 1945, things have slowly begun freezing up again. At any given time, there are 1,800 thunderstorms in progress over the Earth's atmosphere. Lightning strikes the Earth 100 times every second. A rainbow can be seen only in the morning or late afternoon. It is a phenomenon that can occur only when the sun is 40 degrees or less above the horizon. Salt Lake City, Utah gets an average of 17 inches more snow annually than Fairbanks, Alaska. Santa Fe, New Mexico gets an average of 9 inches more snow each year than New Haven, Connecticut. All right, interesting. Especially when you hear about all the global warming. Makes you wonder. All right, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and tackle some jury charge. You're going to hear verdict, V-E-R-D. Jurors, juror is J-A-O-R. Guilty, G-I-L-T. Circumstantial. Now the briefer circumstance is S-I-R-K. So circumstantial can be written as S-I-R-K and then come back for A-L. Circumstantial. So circumstance is S-I-R-K. So circumstantial, you would just want to come back for the A-L with that. Okay. Proved directly. Instructions. So the brief for instruction is S-T-R-U-B-G-S. So then you would just come back for final Z if it's plural. Deliberation is D-L-I-B-G-S. I've also heard it as delation, D-L long A, G-S, delation. So I've heard it both ways, either D-L-I-B-G-S or D-L long A, G-S. Okay, you have a choice there. There's always usually more than one way to write a brief. All right. Here we go. And it's going to start off with ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The phrase for that is L long A J S. I know right now it's kind of hard to get that in because it's a slower speed, but when you get into the higher speeds and the reader starts out speaking really quickly, then it's very nice to know. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. All right, here we go. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, now that you have heard all the evidence, we come to that part of the trial where you are instructed on the applicable law in the case now being tried. I will read these instructions to you in open court. In addition, you will have these instructions available to you in their written form in the jury room for your use during your deliberations. Whether a defendant is found guilty or not guilty depends both upon the facts and upon the law. As jurors, you will find and have two duties to perform. The first duty is to determine the facts of the case from the evidence received in the trial and from no other source. The word fact means something that is proved directly or circumstantially by the evidence. Your other duty is to apply the rules of law that I will state to you to the facts as you determine them to be, and in this way determine a fair verdict. It is my duty in these instructions to explain to you the rules of law that apply in this case. You must follow the rules of law as I explain them to you. All right. I have a fun poem here. It's called The Hellbound Train. Kind of, I know we just had Halloween, so I got it out and then I didn't get around to it, so I wanted to make sure and read it to you guys. All right, here we go. Ready? A Texas cowboy lay down on a barroom floor, having drunk so much he could drink no more. So he fell asleep with a troubled brain to dream that he rode on a hell-bound train. The engine with murderous blood was damp and was brilliantly lit with a brimstone lamp. An imp for fuel was shoveling bones, while the furnace rang with 1,000 groans. The boiler was filled with lager beer, and the devil himself was the engineer. The passengers were a most motley crew, church member, atheist, Gentile, and Jew, rich men in broadcloth, beggars in rags, handsome young ladies, and withered old hags, yellow and black men, red, brown, and white, all chained together. Oh God, what a sight! While the train rushed on at an awful pace, the sulphurous fumes scorched their hands and face. Wider and wider the country grew, as faster and faster the engine flew. Louder and louder the thunder crashed, and brighter the lightning flashed. Hotter and hotter the air became, till the clothes were burned from each quivering frame. And out of the distance there arose a yell. Ha ha, said the devil, we're nearing hell. Then oh, how the passengers all shrieked with pain, and begged the devil to stop the train. But he capered about and danced for glee, and laughed and joked at their misery. My faithful friends, you have done the work, and the devil never can a payday shirk. You've bullied the weak, you've robbed the poor, the starving brother you've turned from the door. You've laid up gold where the canker rust, and have given free vent to your beastly lust. You've justice scorned and corruption sown, and trampled the laws of nature down. You have drunk, rioted, cheated, plundered, and lied, and mocked at God in your hell-born pride. You have paid full fare, so I'll carry you through, for it's only right you should have your due. Why, the laborer always expects his hire, so I'll land you safe in the lake of fire. where your flesh will waste in the flames that roar, and my imps torment you forevermore. Then the cowboy awoke with an anguished cry, his clothes wet with sweat, and his hair standing high. Then he prayed as he never had prayed till that hour, to be saved from his sin and the demon's power, and his prayers and his vows were not in vain, for he never rode the hell-bound train. And the writer of that is anonymous. All right, so that concludes our literary and jury charge selection for the 80 class.